שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be
together on this day. How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be
together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom
שבת שלום.
and good Yom Tov.
Good Yom Tov.
Because it's hard really to feel it, but now we begin the 7th day of Passover, which is a holiday. So Passover, like Sukkot, first day is a holiday, 7th day is a holiday, and in between we call it Chol HaMoed. It's just the days in between. So since we had the Seder last Saturday night, tomorrow is the 7th day, and we'll add a few words here and there. For example, when we do the Kiddush, when we do the candles, we say Shabbat ve Yom Tov. Yom Tov is a good day, it's a holiday, good Yom Tov. לכו נרננם?
Lecho neranena, lecho neranena, lecho neranena, l'Adonai. Lecho neranena, lecho neranena, lecho neranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor ishenu, nekadma lefanav b'todah. Naria, naria, letzor ishenu, v'izmir av naria lo. Lecho neranena, lecho neranena, lecho neranena, l'Adonai. 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 For those of you at home, if you'd like to share something that you're grateful for this week, please send it to us in the chat. We're going to continue with the words of L'Chadodi as we welcome the Sabbath bride.
L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nekabela Zamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Yishmiach El Amechad Adonai Echad U'shmo Echad V'shemo Tiferet Ve'letfilah L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki himecho Haveracha merosh miketem Ne'esucha sof ma'aseh
לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בעיני שבת נקבלה.
התעוררי, כי בעורף קומי אורי, אורי, שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלי תהילה לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בעיני שבת נקבלה.
It's our custom for the last verse of Lecha Dodi to rise and face the entrance. If you're willing, if you're able.
בואי ושלום, עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני, עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בעיני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לך דודי, לקראת כלה,
And as is our custom on Shabbat, we take a moment to reflect on the past week, especially on the good things that happen. And if anyone would like to mention something good, something you want to share with us, this would be a wonderful time.
I had my 6-month CAT scan, and I'm in my 3rd year of remission.
Wow, Carol is in a 3rd year of remission. Wow, and those of us who remember the first diagnosis, oh my God, it's a miracle. Thank you, God, for having Carol with us for all these years. Bob.
As a side effect of my chemotherapy, I had to have a mammogram. It came out negative. Oh. I have a new respect for all of that mammogram.
Thank God for that, and thank God for negative results, which are good thing. Anyone from the house?
Hey, Haley is getting her 2nd vaccine this week and going back to activities. So for all these things, we say Tov lehodot. It's good to give thanks to God. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. ולזמן ולזמן שמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב להודות. טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמן ולזמן שמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני. להגיד בבוקר עזרך. להגיד בבוקר עזרך. לאמונתך בלילות ואמונתך Adonai. Tov lehodot Adonai. ולזמר את שמך העליון. טוב להודות לאדוני. להגיד בבוקר עזתך. להגיד בבוקר עזתך. באמונתך בלילות, באמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני. We also apparently give thanks. Christina said that Eli got into Suncoast.
Yay.
Ooh, Eli.
Congratulations.
That's a good school for him. No, that's a good school for people who are really good at math, and his.
We continue with the words of Shalom Aleichem as we welcome in the angels of Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Barakuni Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov.
We continue now with what we call the Arvit, the evening service of Shabbat, and we begin by calling everyone to worship the prayer of Baruch Hu. If you are able, please rise.
את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMevoyach Le'olam
Please be seated. Love beyond all space and time, your love enfolds your people, Israel. We receive it in your teachings, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. Join me, the word is love. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת, אהבה, אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. King Adonai Eloheinu, Shalveinu vekumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמידותיך. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת, עמך
This prayer with the theme of Ahava, of love, is a great segue to our weekly conversation with God. I invite you to close your eyes. And before Shabbat and before the seventh day of Passover, let's just let go of our anxiety, of our stress of the past week. Let's take a deep breath in very slowly and breathe out. Let's take another deep breath in and out. And as we continue slowly to breathe, let's have a short conversation with God. We can tell God things that we just didn't have the opportunity to tell anyone. We can say thank you for the blessings in our lives. We can protest and complain. God can take it. And then we pause and listen. Listen to God's reply. As we breathe in, let's take inside the beauty, the warmth of Shabbat, of Passover. And let's breathe out our anxieties, our fears. Time to let go of everything we need to let go of. And together, still with our eyes closed, let's say the words of Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vad. We slowly open our eyes.
And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be upon your heart,
Shall be in your heart.
shall be upon your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children. And you shall speak of them when you're sitting in your house, when you're walking by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise, and when you rise up. And you most famous question of every bar mitzvah rehearsal is, are we spinning? Do we spin or do we not spin? So I have to ask, are we spinning?
It's your
Are
call,
we
Marcy. By you mean... We'll look at you and decide.
Maybe just the woos.
Just Bruce?
Just the woos.
Okay. Everyone here and at home will be very disappointed.
Maybe one. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, ולעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, ולעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, ולעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, ולעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Let's go back to last Saturday night. You sit down for the Seder. First you light the candles, right? You do a Kiddush. But one of the first things that you read from the Haggadah is a line in Aramaic. It's written in Hebrew words, but it's Aramaic, and it says, Kol dichfin yetei v'yichol, kol ditzrich yetei v'yitzrach. And the translation goes something like, anyone who is hungry, come and eat with us. And if you pause for a second, you realize that it's so phony and insincere. Like what? People are lurking outside, waiting for you to say it, and then when you're done, they just come in and say, oh, thank you for inviting us. Where's the brisket? Nobody's going to show up, right? Nobody. So why saying it? Everyone is hungry. If you really want to invite people, or to make sure that they will celebrate Passover, you should say it a week before, right? Go to shul and say, whoever doesn't have a place to go, whoever needs food, come here, right? I'm not talking about a pandemic here. That's different. But normally you do it before, not during the Seder, knowing that nobody will come. But of course, our rabbis who wrote it were not insincere. It's based on a mitzvah that is not well known. It's called either in Hebrew ma'ot chitin or kimcha de pascha, that means food for Passover. Now, Jewish communities always try to help the poor and always collected tzedakah for others, but Passover is the only festival that has a designated tzedakah. Because every Jew has to be able to celebrate Passover, but the psychology of the details is fascinating. I'll give you a few examples. So Shabbat dinner or holiday dinners, it's preferable to invite people to your house to celebrate with you, but not for Passover. For Passover, the greatest mitzvah is actually to enable other people to celebrate in their own homes. Of course, if you invite people, it's a wonderful thing, right? But the idea is that part of the concept of Passover, and even some of the rituals, convey the idea that we, at least during Passover, we Jews are royalty. Remember the 4 questions? So one of them is, why do we recline during this night? And I don't know if you do it or if you remember some grandparents who always had a pillow or something like that, because in their mind, that's how kings and queens sit for dinner, right? Just like, okay, so normally they sit on these wooden, uncomfortable chairs, but Passover, we are royalty. Okay, and because of that, they want to enable people to feel like royalty in their own homes. Not going somewhere else and eating somebody else's food, but providing food for themselves and their families. Because of this idea, you can give whatever you want for this collection. You can give food, you can give money, but if you have a choice between giving matzah or giving flour with which to make matzah, you give flour. And why is that? Because people who make their own matzah feel this sense of accomplishment. It helps also for their dignity. Now, today, when you think matzah, you think about going to Costco, buying this 5-pack, and then after 7 days, you're still left with 4, and you don't know what to do. But that's today. Back then, to get a matzah, you needed to make it and to bake it in the community oven, the whole thing. Okay, so to enable a person to give them the flour, which was not so abundant, especially the kosher one, you make them feel good about themselves. It reminded me a story that I read probably in one of these Malcolm Gladwell's book, I'm not sure, it sounds like, about the first cake mix in this country. So they made it, they introduced it, and people loved it when they tested it before. It was good. The cake that they made was good. All you needed to do was to take this powder, to put some water, put it in the oven, and you have a cake. Only that people didn't eat it, didn't buy it. And why is that? It took them a while to realize, because people did not feel like they are baking their own cake. So some of the people in the company, and I don't remember which company, came up with this brilliant idea. They changed the recipe. So now you have the mix, and you add eggs. And when people added the eggs, they felt like they are really baking their own cake. It's really an interesting thing. Now, they didn't really need the eggs because they found a solution without, but then people started to buy it all the time and were proud of serving their guests with homemade cake. Okay, so probably the same psychology goes to this matzah. If you just get matzah from somebody else, well, matzah. But if you bake it yourself, you feel ownership, you feel good about yourself. There are other really interesting rules about it. When a person lives in a community for 12 months, that person must participate in this tzedakah project. Even if they have very little, they still give little, but they have to. And any person who lives in the community for 30 days is entitled to get some of the food. So there are many other principles. It's a beautiful thing. Of course, today things are different, but still, it's in some communities, it's a great opportunity for collections. Not only for the Jewish community, but thank God, there are many other people who can use it. And as I was reviewing all the laws of Kimcha de Pascha, of this project of collection for Passover, I recalled of a wonderful story from about 100 years ago about Rabbi Cook, or as they called him, Rav Kook. Rabbi Kook was the first rabbi of Palestine. And before you jump, because I said Palestine, until May 14th, 1948, we didn't call our beloved land Israel, but we called it Palestine. And Rabbi Kook was the rabbi, started at 1920, and he died at 1935. So he definitely was not the rabbi of the modern state of Israel, which had not been in existence yet. He was an ultra-Orthodox rabbi, very learned man, very well respected by most. Because people of his community, some of them really disagreed with him, did not like him. And one time he gave an important sermon during an important occasion, and one person got up and started yelling and screaming at him as he was trying to deliver his message. Now, even today, it would not be perceived well, but especially back then when people were closer to the halacha, to the Jewish law and Jewish traditions, when you insult a rabbi, definitely publicly, not just a rabbi, but teachers, Torah scholars, presidents of synagogue, you don't just hurt them, you hurt the whole community. And in a way, you even hurt God. So that was a big deal of yelling at the chief rabbi publicly. Well, the rabbi didn't do anything, but a short time later, it was time for Passover, and as the head of the Jewish community, he started the collection, this that I just described, and he had the list of what he had, and he had the list of the people who should get help. And you probably already imagine that on the list of those who needed tzedakah was the man who publicly humiliated him. But Rav Kook looked at the list and told his secretary to go to this man's house and to give him the provisions for the holiday. The secretary said, "Rabbi, I'm not going to do it. After what he did to you, after what he did to us, he should not be a recipient of this charity." And Rabbi Kook said to his secretary, he said, "I cannot force you to go, but I want you to know that if you will not go, I will go myself." And the secretary said, "But why? He violated all the rules of the Torah. He did horrible things to you. Why do you want to help him?" And Rabbi Kook said to him, "Because what the world needs more than anything else is," I'm using the Hebrew phrase, ahavat chinam. A lot of the songs we sang before had the word ahava, which means love. And chinam means many things, but in this context, without any reason. You just love people because you love them, not because they did something special to you. And he continued, he said, we often talk about sinat chinam, which is the opposite. Sin'ah is hatred. And we learned that the temple was destroyed because people hated each other for no good reason. So the Jewish community, they were all followed the Torah, the commandments, everything, but they were really nasty towards each other. And that's why the Talmud tells us the temple was destroyed. And the only thing that can fix it, the only thing that can bring the Messiah, meaning we will have really elevated, good, ethical, spiritual life, is Ahavat Chinam. But Rabbi Kook continues, said, when we say Ahavat Chinam, some people think, okay, it's love without a reason. Just you love people because you love them. And he said, that's not true. Because we have a reason why we should love other people in the community. And why is that? Because there is a commandment in the Torah that all of you know. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. So the reason for loving each other is because the Torah said so, like many other commandments. So he said that's not Ahavat Chinam. That's not love without a reason. It has a reason. So what is Ahavat Chinam? When somebody hurts you, you still find it within yourself to show them love, compassion, and to help them when they are in need. And that's what Rabbi Cook said probably 100 years ago. That's what the world needs, and that's what our community needs in order to bring the Messiah back. And he's so right. It's so easy for us today to get all the food that all the Jews around the world need to celebrate Passover. It's easy. But to get enough people in the community to love each other, to forgive, to show compassion, that's already a much bigger challenge. My hope that the year that we all experienced, that it's not really over, already 2 Passovers, may change something in our priorities, in our neshama, in our soul, and there will be much more of this ahavat chinam. Shabbat shalom and Chag Sameach. Good Yom Tov. And now we continue with the Amidah, with our main prayer. I would like to invite you, if you're able, please to rise.
If you're joining us from home, please take a moment before you rise to write the names of those who you'd like to think of who are in need of healing, and we will add their names to our list here. Rav lehoshia, morit hata, mechakel chayim bechesed, nechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, Nisheneg afar, michamocha bal gerurot, umidom elach, melech memit umechaye, umatmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lachayot hakol, baruch ata Adonai, mechayei hakol.
You may be seated.
Oh, say shalom v'rama.
Hu yaseh
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
And this is the time in which we pray for our loved ones who are ill and in need of healing. If anyone would like to mention the name of a loved one who is ill, please.
As well as Moses Bill Namer, Eric Dellenbach, Mark, Rebecca, Maria, Annie, Kathy, Rita Shimko, Mary, David Edelman, Margie Sclaver, Jackie Richardson, Candy Seeger, and Sandy Grossman Dworkin. For all of them, we join together as we recite the words Misha Berach.
Avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misher Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, a renewal of body watching from home and have additional names for our Yurtzeit list, if you're remembering someone this week, or you're just remembering someone, please add their names to the chat. And I invite everyone, if you're able to rise, as we begin to conclude with Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד. ושמו
If you're observing a Yurtzeit, please remain standing as we remember today Joy Siegel, sister of Elaine and aunt of Audrey, Stanley Alterman, father of Eric, Dora Lazarescu, mother of Zona, Annie Cohen, mother of Al, Irving Feathergreen, father of Ross and grandfather of Dan, Mary Finkel, mother of Nate, Lillian Frankel, mother of Ed, Ethel Chernin Katzin, mother of Davilinda, Moore Brickman, uncle of Linda, B. Louis Bloomberg, father of Shirley, Esther Ruth Burton Duckman, grandmother of David, Blanche Kaplan, grandmother of Debbie, Ephraim Jacob, brother of Albert, Jesse Lane, father of George, Sylvia Decter, mother of Natalie and Mike, Lucille Bauchmeyer, grandmother of Ken, Selma Jacobson, mother of Toby and grandmother of Marcy, Fritzi Ornstein, mother-in-law of Doris, Bernard Hall, father of Sylvia, Richard Ronfola, husband of Stacy, son-in-law of Wendy and Barry, and brother-in-law of Liz and Brian, Alvin London, uncle of Robin, Ray Slipakov, mother of Bob, Bernard Riven, father of Anne, Max Stavitsky, father of Norm, Nathan Goldberg, grandfather of Greg, Harry Goldstein, grandfather of Jana, Mary Thornton, daughter of Sue and Jim, Eloise Sternberg, sister-in-law of Eleanor. During the month of mourning, during Shloshim, remember Rabbi Meir Mittelman, friend of Lindsay Hirsch, Roxanne Tashkin, friend of Nina and Stephen, Samuel Sachs, grandfather of Tana, Roberta Strassler, wife of Alan, and taken from his family in the past week. Remember one of our founding members, Brad Tarshish, husband of Jean. If you would like to mention names that I have not mentioned. We say the words of the mourner's prayer, Kaddish Yatom. Itgadal ve'itkadosh shmei Rabbah. ועל מה דברה חירותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Passover?
You want to do Passover? Wow.
I don't know that we have the slides to match it perfectly. Why not? Vayechulu? Do the whole thing. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechol Elohim vayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashavi vayikadesh oto ki bo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am ורוממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה, שבתות למנוחה, ומועדים לשמחה, חגים וזמנים לששון. את יום השבת הזה ואת יום חג המצות הזה, זמן חירותנו באהבה, מקרא הקודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים בשבת, ומועדי קודשך, באהבה וברצון, בשמחה ובששון הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat, V'Yisrael v'Hazmanim. Chaim.
L'chaim. So if you remember when we used to have prayer books, remember this thing that they used to have some things in parentheses that we almost always skip. This is the day when we don't skip. So the only reason for this parentheses is today. Hamotzi?
Motzi.
So the blessing for matzah is hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Only during the Seder you have a special blessing for the matzah. But during the rest is hamotzi lechem. And some of us will have a real bread tomorrow night. Some will choose to wait another day.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Go ahead. No, you have to eat now after you said the blessing.
Oh, a nice big piece.
You need at least half.
So good. Oh, it's so
It'll
good.
be very loud if I do it with the microphone.
I have a stomach ache just looking at it. You can drink some of the wonderful wine you have there. It helps to digest the matzah.
It's good, right? Nice, nice and moist. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. We conclude tonight with the words of Adon Olam. Repeat after me. Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
Asher Malach.
Hashem Malach.
B'terem kol.
B'terem kol.
Yoter nivra. Le'et nasa.
Le'et nasa
בחפצו
b'chefzo
כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון.
Olam.
מאחרי כגלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא אדון.
Olam.
והוא היה, והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון.
Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
Asher Malach.
Asher Malach.
B'terem kol.
בטרם כל
יציר נברא. לעת נסע.
לעת נסע
בחפצו
בחפצו
כל.
אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון.
Olam.
והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשיך לו להכבירה אדון עולם. ולי ראשית, ולי תכלית, ולא העוז והמסע אדון עולם. אדון עולם,
אדון עולם.
אשר מלך,
אשר מלך.
בטרם כל,
בטרם כל יציר נברא.
לעת נסע, בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור קרבי ויצרה אדון עולם. והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, ונקוסי ביום וקרא אדון עולם.
Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
Asher Malach.
Hashem Malach.
B'terem kol.
בטרם כל
יציר
יציר
נברא.
נברא, נסע בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון. ביעדו הפקיד רוחי, בתשעה בעירה אדון עולם. ועם רוחי יביאתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא אדון.
Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
Asher Malach.
Hashem Malach.
B'terem kol.
בטרם כל
יציר נברא.
נסע בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Yom Tov. If you want to join us for Yizkor tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on Zoom, okay, so you can follow the link because it's the last day of Passover, therefore Yizkor. And we have many things. This April we'll have a special Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel's Independence Day, on the beach. We're back. So, yes. And we'll have some other interesting things. Join us for outside for an oneg, kosher for
Very
Passover.
kosher for Passover.
I'll bring the
right?
matzah.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.